now.
I'll call the meeting to order. Angela, would you do roll call, please?
I can. Oops. Okay. Wally Shreves,
Here.
Bob Dalton,
Here.
Lena Tucker,
Here.
Nancy Patton,
Here.
Counselor Trask.
Here.
Hey, I know Nancy Curtis is out today, and I talked to Deborah, so hopefully she'll be on here soon. But we do have a quorum, so we are good to go.
All right.
So time reports, if anybody has any more for Angela, please email them to her so she has a hard copy of them. And at this time, are there any public comments?
I told Vasa she needed to be here, but she took off.
And if no public comments, if the team would take a look at the Park and Tree Committee meeting minutes from last month, and then we get a motion to approve in second.
Would you like me to make a motion, Wally, to pass the minutes as read?
Oh, I
Okay,
would.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as read.
I second it.
Okay, minutes approved.
Can we get the approval on the work session minutes also? There's two different ones.
Yep.
And I'd make a motion on the work session minutes as well.
And
pass.
this is Lena, I'll second it.
Thank you.
Work session meeting approved. Now let's move on to the park budget.
And Brandon is on here in case anybody has any questions.
Morning, everybody.
Hey, let's just make sure we hear it from him. What is our budget for this next year?
So I will preface this statement with we are in the infancy stage of budget development for the following fiscal year. The projections that we have show that I could budget up to $250,000 in general fund monies for parks. That does not include anything in the 457 fund, which is your SDC funds and any kind of donated or set aside funds over the last several years. So that number I don't have right off the top of my head, but is probably in the 40,000 range, I would guess, not counting SDCs. SDCs are hard only because you can only use them on certain things. So the development of a new park, we could certainly use SDCs on, but the park's SDC is also very new, and so revenue in that is kind of hit or miss at this moment. But 250,000 in the general fund is what I believe today that I would be able to give parks for the next fiscal year.
Brandon, can't SDCs be used for the expansion of existing parks if that project is in the list?
If there was an expansion, yes. It would be hard for me to justify something like, take for example, Upper Sankey, if you're just kind of modifying and renovating or changing it. But if you're expanding the park to be a bigger footprint, then yeah, we could use some SDC money there.
Well, I was just thinking that for the case of something like Ashbrook, where it's an existing park, it's never had a bathroom before. If a bathroom was added to it, that's an expansion of the amenities at that park.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say we still probably need to split SDC and standard funding for that. So it's not just a straight SDC. But yeah, we can certainly use SDCs to contribute towards that.
And we could use it for the new city hall also. Oh, sorry, Dave.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say we could use that for the new city hall park too, since there wasn't originally a park there.
That is correct.
Okay.
But was that
Same as-
park identified through the process?
It would need to be added by resolution by the council, which is perfectly within possibility.
So even if we make improvements in Upper Sankey, we've already identified that we need to make some improvements. Let's say we go off the deep end and we're going to put a bigger bridge across, and we're going to do some other things and a bigger restroom, and we would have to then identify those somehow back to our capital CIP plan, and it gets updated, and then it becomes part of eligible for that.
So if we can do a bathroom at Ashbrook, why can't we do one at Upper Sankey too? Out of the SD, if we wanted to, the SDC money. That makes no sense to me.
I would think we could.
Oh, you probably could if it's an expansion of the amenities at that park. You just have to make sure that it's on
Well,
the
we have a plan
resolution.
to fix that anyway, but I'm just saying that I talked to Brandon the other day, and I think that for me, and I'm not saying what you guys should do, but I'd like to see us keep that SDC money until we actually can put some money in there, because I don't know how much it is, and it would seem like it would, because we'd have a buffer for something if we wanted to do that, and that's up to you guys. It's fine with me, but because we've never been able to keep any money in the account, so it's turned around a long time ago, and I really appreciate that too. So anyway, you guys got a good plan. I know that, so that's what we need to get going.
We could definitely use that money at Northside to install the dog park, correct?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
I like
should
that
have-
with
just nodding.
dog things work in my car like that too. It's good. So our entire committee was at work session last week. So do we need to now vote on what we?
So
came
that's
up with,
down, that's
since we
down
couldn't
the
vote
agenda.
this week?
That's down on the
It is?
agenda a little bit farther.
Okay, I need to get my glasses because it's too small. I have to hold it out there. Okay, well then I'll hold off on that. So, next question, Beautification Committee update. Anything, Bob?
They excuse me. They met on January 13th at Sankey Park. And basically they just looked at their 2022 calendar for the year. It just really replicates what they've done in the past. They've looked at all the parks, Clover, Highway 228, Shea Point, Oak Terrace, 4th Avenue, Husky Hill, the median strips, Long Street, Veterans Memorial, and Beauty strips as to what they're going to plan on doing there this year. Discussed ordering the new flower baskets and medium strip planning. So that's basically what they talked about. And then again, their volunteer are always needed for the projects throughout the year. They have their members, which is a limited few. They have the Hawthorne Elementary group, and then of course Public Works, who's done an outstanding job of supporting that group. So that's basically what they went through for the month.
Did they have a planned date for the median planting this year?
They have not got on that one yet. They have yet to do that.
And I think one for us all to look at was a year ago or 2 years ago, based off COVID. I don't remember. They wanted to do some work at, is it Clover, coming into town from the west?
Yeah.
Yep, that's their number one this year.
Yeah. So I don't recall all of the reduce it. Does that sound right?
Wally, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, say it again, please. I couldn't hear you, Wally.
Okay. That might not have been bad. I said, I think they want us to work on that park at the leading edge of town, removing some of the wall in the front and other parts. Dominic, do you remember us talking about that?
I do.
Yeah, I think that's kind of on hold until it goes into park order of what work's going to be done, because it's gets pretty extensive to knock down that hill and redo the fountain area. I did talk to Patty she's kind of like in charge of the Clover Park flowers for the beautification committee. And we're going to do something with the irrigation this year, but no like heavy construction type stuff.
Yeah, it just rests in the back of my mind, so I wanted to bring it up as we start into the year.
There's a lot of there's a lot of electrical.
I'm
There's
there.
a lot of piping.
Thank you.
That round big spur in the center of that thing used to be a fountain, and it was functional. So there's a full pump system that runs through that, and it sits up in that hill. So it's to do that, it's going to take a lot to knock all that down and get it out of there. And the fact that one piece alone, that spool is going to be a bear to get out of there. I don't know how we're going to do that. So anyway, it's not just simple dig and remove.
Does anyone remember? Well, I was just thinking also along that same line of discussion, the individual that had pledged some money towards some play equipment, ground equipment there, the fire truck. I remember we talked about that, but we were concerned of the access to that park and kids accessing, but I don't know whatever happened to the individual that where we were talking about moving that proposal.
So from what I remember, and in my notes, I can go back and look, we talked about because of the access, because that we might look at doing that at Strawberry Park instead of Clover Park, and we were told that that would probably be okay. But until we get to that point where we're doing something like that. But that was the discussion because there was no parking at Clover and different things like that, we presented that possibly do it at Strawberry Park. So there is no final decision. It's just Strawberry's not on our priority list right now. So.
Yeah, didn't the council, the mayor go back to the people that were going to do that and tell them that what our decision was, and then they were okay with it? I think that's what you had told us before.
Yes, but it's and part of it too is just we're not ready to do Strawberry Park yet. And so it'll be we're going to do City Hall Park since that's ready to go, since the donors for that are ready to go. So that was the decision.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's move on to the Wettlebridge maintenance and funding update. I don't know, Greg, if you got to talk to anyone yet since we mentioned it last week.
I haven't had anybody get back with me, but I will follow up. Like I said, I reached out to them. I'll do it again today.
Okay. Well, that brings us to Bandstand Concepts.
I sent all of you guys the ones that I think Lena and Wally had looked at. Pretty sure Lena's the one that sent them to me, but I can't remember. Those are some other ideas. And just what we're doing right now is we're just kind of looking at the kind of style that you guys would like to see. So these are some different ones from what I sent you the month before, and we don't have to make a decision yet. We just need to know kind of what design type that you guys are looking for. So, and then we can do some more research and then start getting pricing for that.
It seems like the timber frame design seemed to resonate with people rather than more of a modern industrial design. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think everything that
I
we're
like the
looking
redwood design.
in our community is the wood design. I even know with the new Samaritan Clinic, it's been driven hard by Milt Moran to keep that timber theme concept in our community of rock and timber, so I think that would, a structure like this or similar to this would be what we were looking for.
And keep in mind, for longevity of the structure, you can, when we get to that point, suggest either metal or concrete posts that are designed that look like, logs or timber. And so, if we start looking at timber, then you start looking at life expectancy. And as we know, in that environment, underneath those trees, it's It's going to be moist and moldy and, open to elements. So
So you're saying cut all the trees down?
no, I would never say that.
Okay.
I think when we get to the point of design, I think we can carry themes, but I think just as long as we're cognitive and mindful of materials, I think.
Well, and I think you're right, Greg. I think the bottom portion of it, the post, is the most exposed, and some sort of a metal or concrete pillars would be appropriate for that. And that upper half, the wood structure that enhances, the two go together pretty well if you got that stone and metal and wood together.
Right.
Okay. So what will be our next step on the bandstand? Are we going to vote on one maybe at the next meeting?
Well, I think, I guess, I don't know, Blair, what are your thoughts? I mean, do we need to specifically find design, or do we need to, I mean.
I think that design is going to be tied a lot to procurement and what we can find. It depends on how expensive we want to go. I mean, if we want to, we could hire a firm to do a design and then present those designs and then have it be adjusted based on what you want it to look like and so forth, and have it designed specifically for this site. That's probably the most expensive route, I'd say. And then there's the other options are finding something that's kind of a pre-made design that's more of a kit style. So I think with the direction from the committee, we can do more research on finding that the types of kits that are available that we could see about proposing. But I don't know that there would really be a need for a vote by the committee until we get a little further along. Does that sound fair, Greg?
Yeah, I think we should design something, or at least have an idea of what we want to do. And I don't think it can cost a lot. And I think for a few $1,000s, we possibly could get somebody to help us design that, go through a little process, and maybe we do that out of next year's budget, design it, get it all ready to go. Because, once you have that, we could either lump it in with Upper Sankey, or we might get some community member in town that wants to help. We could maybe know what the costs are at that point, fund it the following year. I think once we get to that point, I guess is where I'm going, it gives us options for the next step.
Okay. So we can see
correctly, we already had 4 or 5 designs drawn up to look at. And then since then, we've had several kits submitted, and people had their opinions on the general designs that were developed initially. And then we've looked at the kits. I just don't know that we've looked at everything across the board. Would you like me to go out and find some more options so we had a broader range to look at? Maybe with
I think we design it. I think we have it put on paper and pay for that cost. I think we give the vision through everything that you guys already have, sift through them, find what we like, and then let's sit down with somebody and get it to where it's, all the costs are worked out. It may even be Joe could do it. He's not structural though. And so to get that stamp, I think we're going to have somebody else outside do that.
So you're talking about basically hiring an architectural firm to go through a process to nail out a design.
Right. Through your guys' vetting and guidance of the vision or the community of whatever you guys choose, right? You've got several that you've talked about. But I think you go to that process, right? And get it ready to build. Somebody just may come and fund it. Right?
So
Stranger things have happened here.
So Wally, just real quick, these designs here, are those from that Redmond company I sent to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it's more economical to buy a kit version versus having it designed and then custom fabricated.
What about electrical needs and all that? I guess we could design those things, get conduit to it.
That's my concern, is that we have a number of things that we're trying to accomplish with the bandstand. I mean, for events such as Harvest Festival, it would be great to have that used as the actual stage rather than pulling a stage in, which
Right.
means you would be looking for perhaps some sort of shell to help with the sound. You'd be looking at electrical wiring, lighting, those things to be kind of built into it, which is harder to do with a kit, but not impossible. But if you have something that's designed specifically for it, then you might get a better result. Again, I have no idea of the costs of what it would take for hiring an architectural firm to do that. That's new territory for me.
Yeah, and the thing about this Redmond company that Wally and I looked at, they have a lot of different designs and they will modify, but they'll also have their own consultants that can talk to you about what your needs are. So it's not you're just buying a kit necessarily. You can incorporate their consultants to tell you, oh, yes, we can wire this thing. We can put these things here for you. So I don't know. It's not a bad thought to reach out to somebody, just kind of pick their brain a little bit. And maybe they say, no, we just sell the kit and that's yours and we're done. So I think that's kind of to Wally's point a little bit, reaching out to a group like that, say, what can you do and cannot do? And at least you can go from there.
But just think of it as getting it from visionary to maybe a rough shovel, right? So at least we have something that we have some costs, we have an idea what it's going to take, what's involved, those type of things. And I think that's where we need to get. I think selling it and getting it funded and getting that bandstand replaced is going to be easy. But I think we need to get to that next point, and whatever that is. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I'm just suggesting that's where we go.
So does the Redmond company have samples of other bandstands I've done throughout the state?
Yes. These two here, they've got a whole multitude. They've got some of these stages that are set with that actually have storage units built into one end of them, or like a community center built on one end of them if you want to open it up and use an enclosed event or use it for storage. I mean, it's not just this particular two. They got a wide range. But
yeah,
So
I just sent those two just because they were the ones that look like they would fit in our area. So I just chose the two that might work in Sankey Park. There's a lot more in there, but those are the two that I chose just as examples.
So do you think it would be okay to invite those people to a meeting so they could talk more about it?
I think first we need to figure out what we would like to have, because I think there's other options out there. And like what Greg talked about, we already did some design work and layouts in general. So I think that might be a point down the road if we decided to go that route, but not until then.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, because maybe if somebody was right there in front of us, they, didn't say you had to sign up with them. We just, but.
Well, it
I'm
could
with you.
be.
Well, Wally, from my opinion, I think that if it's a company that's pretty good at that, I would just assume that they have done some with power in it before. I mean, it wouldn't be like all they do is wood. I'm sure that they would have a system where they could put power blocks in and all those things and have it done. And then you just have to feed it. And it would make sense to me, but maybe I'm wrong. But so Wally, why don't we just, when the weather changes, let's just go over there.
Yeah.
You can drive and you can buy lunch.
No problem. You can buy dinner, breakfast, and the next lunch. It's a long drive.
So staff can also do some additional research and try to find out what it would cost for get some estimates on an architectural firm doing a design and going through that process.
Yep.
And then get also some estimates of various kits that are out there. One thing I think that would be helpful for me at least is making sure that we know what the main features are that you are looking for when it comes to a bandstand. The previous bandstand, just lovely historic structure, but had ADA issues, wasn't the most useful when it came to the events that we have in the park. And so what kind of structure would be most useful to us Some of the examples that are in the packet today are more of a pavilion style, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I guess that's the question I'd like to hear your thoughts on, or what do you want? What amenities in a structure are you looking for?
I do know
Well,
when
I
we
think
talked about it,
Whoops.
the ability to have access to it downhill and uphill was an important factor.
Yeah.
You can go both ways.
Do we have an idea of dimensions that we were thinking to meet the needs of perhaps, using it for Jamboree? So do we have an idea? How wide, how long, how tall?
Well, even
There's
when we
plenty of
do the
room.
band, even when we do the band with Harvest Festival, we have to have a full stage, right, Angela?
Yeah, there are dimensions. And I have them written down somewhere of what most of the bands require for space. But we want to make sure that it's utilized, not just for Jamboree, and we want to make it user friendly for other things too, besides
Right.
Harvest Festival and Jamboree. But I
Right.
can look back in my notes and figure out, I can't remember exactly how many square feet that it needed to be for a band to fit on there, but I did get that from one of the bands of what their required need was in order to fit on there. So I can look. It wasn't that big. So it's not that, and that's one thing that's probably a good thing to figure out is the dimensions first and then design around the dimensions. So.
Yeah,
I think we're also limited.
Go ahead.
We're also limited by the space.
We have quite a bit of space.
Yeah, what do you?
If I remember correctly, we had to break off what fit.
You're breaking
Hey,
up.
while
Wally.
you're breaking up, you might want to try turning your camera off to give you more bandwidth.
What if I just get closer?
Oh,
That works.
There's that too.
There we go.
Yeah, I was just saying that it probably has a lot to do with the space that's available. I know we were restricted by pathways and other parts.
Where Joe had put on the site plan the stage to go, there's actually quite a bit of room. So it would be from where the old stage is. If you're looking at where the old stage is, it was going to be moved to the left a little bit. So it'll be moved east from the location of the old bandstand. So, and what I can do is I can find that site plan or have Joe send it to me again, and I can send it to you guys to kind of show you where the proposed area was going to be. And I'll make a note to do that. So.
Hi. Did we decide against the amphitheater? Is that too much work?
I don't know that we've ruled out anything.
Okay.
Right.
I just didn't hear it, and it was on the back of my mind. I thought I better say something.
I think the idea was that on the downhill side, you could have the hill graded and have benches put in that kind of form a natural amphitheater and on that side. And then you could have the other side be more of a stage facing the rest of the park. And so the same structure could facilitate both of those things, perhaps.
Okay.
I like that idea.
I think that's one of my concerns about a kit is that it would be more difficult to adapt it to something like that.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think that horse is dead for this meeting.
Okay.
Move on to the next item. We should vote on our budget priorities.
So just a reminder to everybody, the priorities you identified were the Upper Sankey Park design and grant presentation to work on that this year. North Side Park, including a dog park, and then City Hall Park, including a dog park. That's just to review. Is that what you guys decided on your priorities? And did I miss something?
other than the budget fits the projects.
Well, they'll identify,
words-
once we figure out the budget, then they'll decide what small pieces of each park that they will do.
And
Is
just
what
want
the
to be clear that if we identify those, or may, depending on the cost, and we all know that costs are changing right now drastically. not just, the demand, being able to get that product, but let's just be clear that we've got a pot of X and we're suggesting we're going to do several things. I just want to make sure that we understand that that may or may not be possible. So.
Yes. I agree.
So we're looking at the 250,000 as the budget and slicing the pie 3 ways, correct?
Well, the Sankey Park design is mostly going to be work. That's not going to take a big chunk of it.
Right.
So because we're working on the grant for that. So it will be divided between tasks while we're working on that. Now I'm looking at my notes, but while we're working on the Sankey Park design, we will identify specific things in Northside and the City Hall Park to actually work on. So there may be some smaller, fees for the Sankey Park design, but a lot of that's, a lot of that will be determined, when we figure out what the budget are, then we can just, we can look at cost, the different things that you guys wanted to do at each of the other parks.
Okay.
Brandon, I got a question. Can you give us a rough estimate of what the carryover is, if there is any, from last year?
In the dedicated parks fund?
Yes, right now, how much money do we have in there before this budget gets approved or whatever? Just, is there money left over?
Yes. There's always money left over in the 457 fund. I don't budget it completely.
But we
And
still
Dave,
have some concrete to do.
Well,
Yeah, I understand that. Huh?
You weren't here, but the other discussion is maybe hiring a consultant to evaluate the bridge and work on the bridge using some of those funds that are still in there.
We have $5,000 right now. I'm going to use that internally, and I'll get that started. Like I said, we'll get somebody.
That's a different funding source, but yes,
Yeah,
that's good at $5,000. On the 457 side, sorry, I'm trying to pull it up.
Well, it'd just be nice to know if we have any. I'm sure we must have something left, whether it's a big number or a small number, which has been pretty blessed for us the last few years. So,
Hey, Brandon, just tell him that $250,000 with the carryover.
hey, is there some way we can block him out?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of this fiscal year, we started in the 457 fund with about 69,000, just shy of $69,000.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Now with the introduction of the SDCs, we're gonna have to be careful about that because we don't want to spend that accidentally. So some of it will be restricted, but you all don't care about that.
You're the one that's going to get in trouble, not us.
Right.
Okay, so if we want to circle back, so we need a motion if you all approve of the what you identified last week, and then we need a second. So
I motioned that we approve the minutes.
it would be the vote. You're voting on the projects, the priority projects.
The projects that we decided last week. On the Upper Sankey Park, the grant preparation, or Upper Sankey Park design, grant preparation in Northside Park, Dog Park, City Hall Dog Park. Is that what we're talking about? To
Yes.
agree on?
Yes.
If that's a motion, I'll second it. I see heads bobbing, but I'm not seeing.
Okay, I'm going to do a roll call
Okay.
vote. Since we're online, I have to do a roll call vote. So, Wally,
Approved.
hey, Bob,
Approve.
Lena,
Approved.
Deborah,
Approved.
and Nancy.
Yes, I approve.
Okay. So the priorities pass and we'll work forward. Once the budget is set, then we can start identifying items that we specifically want to use that budget for.
Angela, will you
Cool.
send me that after this meeting, please?
Will I just send you?
Just send me the priorities so I have.
Oh.
I need to enter them into the system.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. So next on the agenda is our Arbor Day celebration. So just a recap on our Arbor Day celebration, we had talked about doing it at Evergreen Loop. We had talked about planting approximately 3 trees and looking at getting a park bench in up there. Those were the items that I have already written down that was part of our plan. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, I had stuff printed off for you guys. I will get it scanned and emailed. So of the variety of trees that Lena had chosen that might work there. And then I had some cost lists. So I will get that sent to you guys so you can review it before the next meeting and kind of look at the different trees and see what you guys might want there.
So
Okay.
Wally, do you think we're at a point where we can actually pick a date and that gives us something to work for and engage the community? And we have a few options. I mean, in Oregon, the first full week of April is usually Arbor Week. Nationally, Arbor Day is actually the last Friday of April, so it'd be April 29th. We also have Earth Day in there, which is April 22nd. So we have a few kind of key, dates celebrating Arbor Day. But we could always do a Saturday and that would engage the community more.
In my mind, this was just my thought that we would do it closer to the end of April, which gives Dominic's group time to get the irrigation put in to that area. That just gives them more time. And because I know that's going to be something we want in before the trees go in.
Yeah.
And then the 1st of April, they've moved the chamber banquet to the first Saturday of April. So think of that as well.
Hey, Dominic, you weren't in the last meeting with Sean and Gabe, right?
No.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, so I ran a sword through you guys. So we're gonna commit this year putting irrigation in an evergreen and we've got soil out there at Clark Mill, or if not, we'll get some better, bring some in and then get some topsoil, but planting some seed in there. But I think they've already ground all the stumps, so we just want to finish that. And we did take a concrete bench out of there, right? Do you know where that? Went?
What?
You know where that went?
I think we just set it down at Strawberry while they were taking the trees out.
Okay. So we can return that or get another bench, and that's all. And then what they're talking about is after we irrigate and put something, get that park just kind of back to where it needs to be. They're gonna on Arbor Day plant some trees there.
Yeah, I talked to Sean about it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I didn't know if you had that look like, uh-oh, like we've got more work to do, but you kind of do. So.
No, I'm not sure if we're gonna have irrigation done by April.
It work to have that done before the end of April?
You're cutting out, Wally.
I think
everybody
Dominic answered my question.
Okay.
I have faith that hopefully you can get it done, but I think, oh no, he's not frozen. He's just stunned. Yeah.
That's his resting face.
Right.
I don't get
frozen.
stunned.
So,
At least
Sean's
you're
gonna
not-
be eager, and we'll try to get it done, but I'll leave it up to Dominic and Sean to do that. So we do have a tool cat and it's enclosed. They won't get wet.
At least you're not breaking leaves, Dominic.
That's true. I'm sick of leaves. Matter of fact, I think we should plant plastic trees.
Tree City, USA.
I hear there's one growing out back at City Hall.
So going back to the Arbor Day real quick, 'cause originally we didn't have any money for those trees. It sounds like we have plenty of money. So we can just purchase those trees.
Yes, so we need to decide what trees. And the 2 nurseries that I found some prices from, there's some because we're ordering kind of late, there's only certain ones that are going to be available to us. Typically, you would order them in the fall, so they would have them ready for us, but we're ordering them now. So that's where I will send you guys the variety of trees. You take a look at them, see which ones you like, and then we can see what's actually available. Or I can highlight the ones that are available and then not even let you look at the ones that aren't available. So it kind of depends. Like the two, we've ordered from one of them before, and then Lena sent me another one that I looked at and I got a hold of them. So it kind of depends on the variety and the prices. So I think that if we got the larger potted ones, I think we have plenty. I think we have enough money to at least get 3 from what I looked at the prices. So I think we're doing okay. So what we'll do is I'll send those to you later on today, maybe tomorrow, because I'm going to have to scan them and I'm working from home. So, and then you guys take a look at them before next meeting, and then we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Will that be too late to order them though?
At this point, it's whatever they have available anyway. So
Okay.
we didn't order them in the fall, so it's going to be, and I have a list from both of them of what is available right now. So
maybe for next year, that should be something on our agenda, that in the fall time we order our trees.
yep, we can put that on there.
So I'd like to make a recommendation that we do it on April 23rd. The 22nd is Earth Day. I know, Greg, it puts an imposition on you guys for the workers working on a Saturday. I don't know if doing it on the 22nd on a Friday makes it any better. Your thoughts?
How do we normally do it? Have we been involved with it, Dominic, at all?
Yeah.
You guys usually dig the holes for the trees.
Then I guess we do it.
Yeah, it's usually on a weekday, middle of the day, but in the past, they've always included a school or some kids or something, make it kind of an event. I think we could probably find a way with a weekend. I'm sure I'd have a guy that would want to volunteer to work.
And we could dig the hole on Friday during the day. They don't need to dig holes that day. And then it's nothing more than just picking the tree up, putting it in and shoveling the dirt back in, correct?
Yes.
I know Wally wants to get
And
more.
the reason that I thought,
Sorry.
I was
ahead,
going to
Wally.
say the same thing. I would like to work with some of our companies in town that provide plants and make it more of an event so people in town actually realize what it is. That
Right.
It's Arbor Day, that we actually celebrate it and possibly have them come with some plant sales for people and do some advertising through them as well.
And I'm sure the schools will probably get the kids involved with pictures and stuff for Earth Day. Seems like they always focus on that for the kids.
Well, and if I remember right, there was a couple of you that were going to reach out to the people in that neighborhood and get them involved also. So
Right.
Yeah,
Once you make a flyer and you guys figure out how we can do that with Lagia and everything, yeah, I'll walk around.
So the 23rd sounds good to me on a Saturday, and that way we can involve the community there, and maybe folks would be around.
Blair, do you have any problem with that day, or is that something that has to go up to Dave's group to actually confirm on?
You mean to have it on the 20th of April?
23rd.
Yeah, the
23rd?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to go to council.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think I have an issue with it.
Okay.
All right,
does
so I
that-
have that you guys are wanting to celebrate Arbor Day on April 23rd, and then we'll at some point we'll need to get, Wally, whoever, together with Legita, and we'll figure out how to advertise it, and work with her to do that. So I can have a conversation with her next time I see her, and we can kind of choose a time for you guys all to get together and discuss that.
On the date, does anybody recall when spring break is? That's in March, isn't it?
It's in March.
It's in March.
Yeah, it's March.
Like
March
the 20
17th.
What is
All
it?
right, so
It's the weekend of the end of, it'll be starting on the 19th through the 18th will be the last day of school.
okay.
Right. And the 21st through the 25th, and
Yeah.
then plus the weekends.
I was in the wrong month, so got it.
I should know. I'm going to Disneyland. Oh, dear God.
Oh, fun.
For 2 days.
Well, that's not enough.
No.
Yeah,
Maybe it is enough for you.
None of you have to wear a mask the whole time you're inside.
Oh, God, thank you.
Who says you can't
I'm gonna
buy
be that
love?
guy.
That's buying love right there.
I'll let Gavin Newsom know you're coming. I'm sure he can increase more restrictions by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let's keep the
I hang
politics
out with
of this.
people that need more restrictions than I ever need, so I'll be fine.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, so next month, let's make sure that Arbor Day is on our planning, and I'd like to go over who's going to talk to who and kind of get that coordinated. So in the following month, we can find out that people have talked to people, and especially the businesses. I don't know if somebody like, and I cannot remember their name, the business right across from the post office that does plant sales, possibly Green Thumb. They're just this side of Lebanon.
Gary?
Oh, you're talking
I
about
don't
Sandy and Feed Store? with
Yeah,
his-
Sandy
Yeah,
and Feed.
Sandy M. Feed. Yeah,
Yeah, Gary on Sandy, Feed and
yeah.
Feed.
I'd like to get that ironed out and get it and talk to them in advance so they know about it and could think about it before it comes time to decide what they're going to do. Because we could actually make this an actual real day where people do stuff. So
Are you going
rather
to
than
talk
we
to
just
Gary?
stand there.
Wally, are you going to talk to Gary?
We will talk about that then. Who's going to do that?
Okay.
Because it's January. We've got time. We discuss it in February. That gives you a month until our March meeting to confirm who's talked and get a report back at the March meeting of what all is going to
Okay.
go on. And then we should be pretty much at execute, and we can talk about the final concept executions at the April meeting and then go right into the Arbor Day celebration. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Wait a minute, I have a quick question. When does the farmer's market start? Is that in June? No,
Not
that's
till,
late.
yeah, not till summer. I don't remember exactly when.
Okay.
but-
Sometime in
I
June
was gonna-
typically.
Say a lot of those people are, have plants and stuff too, but that's okay.
yep. Okay, well, we're on to a roundtable discussion. Does anybody have any additions they'd like to put in today?
Well, only thing I want to bring up is we always put it on the back burner, but that's fine. So does the skate park have to move? And I know one day we do need to talk about that again.
Probably not until the school district initiates something. It was just a discussion. So until the school district wants that land back,
Okay.
and it would be on hold until that happens, from what I remember.
Okay.
I just have one
So-
quick thing, Wally, for the group, and it's actually for Greg and your group. On that upper Sankey piece, those rotted posts that have fell over at the entrance and the cable down, can we just get those things out of there? Is that a possibility? They've been laying over on their side, rotted out of the ground for some time. There's those big boulders are sitting there, but they're just, the whole thing is, it's an eyesore. I just thought it'd be something pretty easy, I think, to take care of.
We could. We originally took some of the old broken fencing down when we started cleaning up top
Yeah.
and took timber out. So I would imagine that we could, and I did see one of them that was rotted over, and the only way you're going to fix it is redo that whole thing. So
Yeah, I don't even know if the cable and the post are necessary anymore. I don't know. I know on the flat part, probably not that steep bank there. If you're putting it there just to keep cars from driving off the side, I guess the boulders could do that. But anyway, just a thought, just to take a look at it maybe.
yeah.
I wanted to say something. The ivy is really taking over the trees there at the entrance of the park on 16th and Fir. All along that one area where all that creek runs in there. It's just the ivy's, this water we've been having has really been making it grow. I'm not sure which, I mean, some of the trees look like they're dead, so I don't know what to do, but other than suggest it.
That's probably an item we could put on a workday session for us.
Okay.
And it goes back to what we tried to do, I think, once COVID kind of hit, and we tried to get out late in the year and do some stuff along the trail. So maybe that's something you guys can pick back up on when it's nicer.
Yeah, nicer would
Right.
be good.
Yes, I agree. So any others? Well, this meeting went real fast when we're not in person, and Dave was a lot quieter. So
Yeah. He can get loud.
You're lucky I don't have a vote on you.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are doing a good job.
All right.
That's all there is to it. If we could just get some work out of Greg, it'd be great, but it's not happening.
Or Dominic.
No, Dominic's doing it, and Greg's the guy. He holds him back,
Yeah.
and that's not true either. They're doing a good job.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent job.
Yes, they are.
okay, well, thank you, everyone, and we'll
Bye.
talk again in February.
Have a
All right,
great
good
one,
luck, everyone.
everybody.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye
See you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
bye.
Greg, do you have a minute?